Welcome to your Arizona Cardinals update. Today we're going to be diving into all the things you need to know heading into week 5 of the regular season. And guess what? There's a lot. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up that like button, subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we're covering the Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. So subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. Now, I have been on a little hiatus. I was actually out of town with Roundtable Sports in a really cool event that we ended up hosting for Thursday Night Football, Rams versus the San Francisco 49ers, and it did not disappoint. So whoever actually attended over there, shout out to you guys. It was really, really fun to go over to LA and just chop it up with the guys here of the NFC West Roundtable. And we are giving away the Arizona Cardinals Nike Rivalry mini helmet on this video. So what you need to do right now is comment below how long you've been an Arizona Cardinal fan, and we will be picking that person here probably within the next week or so. So make sure you go ahead and flood the comments here below if you want to go ahead and partake in the Arizona Cardinals Nike Rivalry mini helmet that we're going to be giving away here soon. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go and dive right into it. Like I said, there's a lot to get into: injuries, news, all that different stuff. So let's first start off with some injuries that, if you guys did not know, or if you're not really caught up to date with everything Arizona Cardinals, this ended up happening a couple days back, that Arizona Cardinals running back Trey Benson is now being placed on IR. He is going to be on IR for a total of about 4 to 6 weeks. Now, I felt like something was going to happen here on Monday when we released our video saying that there's something bigger happening here with the Arizona Cardinals. There wasn't a lot of people believing in what I was hearing out there, but truth be told, this is the nature of the beast. Unfortunately, the Arizona Cardinals are going to be down a second starting running back for the Cardinals. And being the fact that we are a run-heavy offense, and that is going to be our bread and butter, this is definitely very unfortunate news for the Cardinals moving forward. Now, yes, they have made some moves, bringing in Michael Carter from their practice squad, which is a player that we all liked as Arizona Cardinal fans for the last 2 years. And this is going to be a real opportunity for him to come out here and really prove what he can do for this Arizona Cardinals offense. So it's probably going to be more of a running back by committee with Amari DeMarcado as well as Michael Carter, and heck, maybe even Bam Knight's going to be into this as well. So I'm excited to see what Michael Carter is going to be able to do. I don't know what the split share is going to look like. What we've been hearing is that it's going to be a running back by committee, and the Arizona Cardinals really do like Michael Carter, so we're going to have to kind of wait and see how week 5 ends up shaking out. Now, somebody ended up asking me, is this a blessing in disguise for the Cardinals to potentially let it loose and have the ball, being thrown around the field? Because I remember the media ended up asking Jonathan Gannon, are the Arizona Cardinals going to be using Amari DeMarcado as well as Michael Carter the same way that, like, we use Trey Benson as well as James Conner? And Jonathan Gannon came out and said that no, obviously different skill sets here. So it is going to be a little bit of a refreshment here for Cardinals fans to maybe take a look to see maybe a more balanced offense. Now, we don't know exactly if that's going to be shaking out the way that we all want it to shake out, but Jonathan Gannon did also mention the fact that the offense is going to have a little bit of different changes here in week 5, and we're going to be attacking the Tennessee Titans a little differently than we've been doing in the last 4 weeks. And now let's go and shift our attention here from a post from Darren Urban of the Arizona Cardinals. Ended up putting this tweet out, and he says this: Gannon on the offensive tweaks made on the mini bye week for the Cardinals. Quote, it's not like we're going to be a Mike Leach spread offense, but I like how we're going to try to attack. And it's going to come down to execution, end quote. So it feels like there is going to be some sort of change for the Arizona Cardinals offense. And like I said, anything that we can see a little different, right? Because multiple people have told me this offense is absolutely boring, right? It's very predictable. And honestly, I can agree with those statements out there with Drew Petzing. So maybe this is one of those things that, now that we're not leaning on a Trey Benson and a James Conner, we're going to be opening up the playbook a little bit more. Now, like I said, easier said than done. I need to see it with my eyes come to fruition. We saw a really good glimpse of the Arizona Cardinals offense in the last 10 minutes of the fourth quarter on Thursday Night Football versus the Seattle Seahawks. Let's just hope the Arizona Cardinals can kind of learn from that and build off of that moving forward. Now, let's go ahead and move on over to this massive update that we ended up hearing here from Will Hernandez. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems like Mijo is coming back sooner rather than later. Now, shout out here to my guy, John Gambadoro, for putting out this tweet earlier today. He ended up saying this: I would expect we finally see Will Hernandez get some run this week for the Cardinals. He's been kept off the PUP list so that he could practice those 4 weeks since he's been coming off an injury almost a year ago. So, big question marks out there about Will Hernandez. Is he going to be playing for the Arizona Cardinals? When is he going to be playing for the Arizona Cardinals? And believe it or not, we already seen on the latest injury report that Evan Brown, left guard for the Arizona Cardinals, is currently listed as doubtful heading into week 5. So this could be a real possibility that we actually might see Will Hernandez come out here in week 5. Now, another change I would love to see on the offensive line is, for the love of God, remove Jonah Williams from that right tackle position and potentially bring in a Kelvin Beachum there. Now, I don't think the Cardinals are going to do it, but that is going to be, I feel like, an offensive shakeup that we absolutely love to see. But honestly, I'm really glad that Mijo is coming back here, with Will Hernandez trending into getting the start here at the left guard position for the Cardinals. Now, we could be shocked. He might go into the right guard position, and then that kicks off over Isaiah Adams onto the left. We don't know how the Cardinals are going to be able to execute this plan, but all the question marks surrounding Will Hernandez is now coming to a close, and it feels like Will Hernandez is coming back this coming weekend. And now let's go and shift our focus on over to other injured players that we ended up hearing before the season ended up starting. Now, a player that we all know as BJ Ojulari. The media ended up asking Jonathan Gannon today if there's any updates on BJ Ojulari, because he's been missing a good majority of training camp, preseason, and we really haven't heard an update on BJ Ojulari. So the media ended up asking Jonathan Gannon today, and this is what Jonathan Gannon had to say. Gannon was asked how BJ Ojulari is doing with rehab. Gannon said, doing well. Asked if Ojulari will be back this season. Gannon said, quote, hypotheticals, end quote. Gannon does not like to talk in hypotheticals. Now, let's talk about this real quick. This is one thing that I've noticed, that this regime, as well as Monty and the rest of the guys that are under Jonathan Gannon, they all speak in riddles. They all really don't want to provide too much information, which honestly, at the end of the day, they really don't have to provide that information. But it's kind of getting to the point where BJ Ojulari, a second-round pick here in the 2023 NFL Draft, is now coming to be potentially a bust for the Cardinals. Like, we haven't really seen him all last year. We're already 4 weeks into the season, and we still don't really have a concrete update on when he's actually going to come out here and provide some sort of services for this Arizona Cardinals defensive line. Now, with the upgraded defensive line for the Cardinals, we're not really missing them very much, with Josh Sweat, Dalvin Tomlinson, Baron Browning heading into his year 2 with the Arizona Cardinals. Not like we're missing them, but this is a player that a lot of Arizona Cardinals fans, including myself, was expecting a big jump from year 1 to year 2. We were excited to see what he's going to do here in year 3. And as of right now, there's just a lot of question marks surrounding our former second-round pick in BJ Ojulari. And now let me go ahead and give a shout out here to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube. That's going to be none other than Sleeper. The NFL season is here, which means you now have a chance to 100 times your cash on daily fantasy football. Pick on stats for stars like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for 100 times your payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right and you can win big. Use promo code AZSF and you can go ahead and get up to a $100 deposit match on your first initial deposit. Terms and conditions apply. But ladies and gentlemen, that's not all. If you use the promo code AZSF in the description below, right now you can go ahead and pair the offer that I just mentioned to you, and you can also get this, a free $20 on Sleeper. This is no deposit required at all. They're just giving you $20 to go ahead and use their Sleeper app. I think it's an absolute slam dunk. Definitely go ahead and take advantage of this amazing deal here from Sleeper. Everything will be in the description below of the video. And now let's go and shift our focus on over to the Arizona Cardinals final injury report, including the Titans injury report heading into week 5. Now, as you can tell here, ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot of questionables when it comes down to the Arizona Cardinals. One player we already kind of mentioned was Evan Brown, already listed as doubtful, but then there is the Darius Robinson that unfortunately has already been ruled out by Jonathan Gannon. Now, I've already seen a lot of comments out there on social media saying that Darius Robinson, as of this point, is considered a bust in the eyes of some Arizona Cardinals fans out there. Now, I'm going to be real. I think Darius Robinson had a solid, maybe solid to okay game this last week on Thursday Night Football versus the Seattle Seahawks. He ended up getting his first sack on the season, and it looked like he was trending in the right direction to potentially start wreaking havoc and hopefully being that guy that we ended up getting in the first round last year. But the truth of the nature here is that unfortunately Darius Robinson ended up getting hurt, was not able to finish the game here on Thursday Night Football, and Jonathan Gannon already ruling him out with a chest injury. This is really not good news for the Cardinals. Former first round pick, and we got another defensive lineman in Walter Nolan where we still don't really have any updates on it. Now, anytime Jonathan Gannon is asked about either Darius Robinson or Walter Nolan or any of these guys that were starting on the PUP list before, there's just a lot of question marks, a lot of kind of vagueness, not very specific answers as to what we're kind of looking for as Arizona Cardinal fans. We're talking about a 16th overall pick and a former 28th overall pick last year for the Arizona Cardinals that we still haven't seen very much production, and to have that caliber of a first round talent. So far, the Arizona Cardinals have not been looking very good with their picks in the first round. Now, of course, I'm a big fan of Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's trending in the right direction. I do love the Paris Johnson Jr. pick, but there's those two picks here in Walter Nolan as well as Darius Robinson. They're now starting to question Monty Ossenfort in the decision making that he's actually making so far, and really starting to beg the question, maybe those guys weren't the pick. All right, let's continue down the injury report here for week 5. You got a lot of questionable players here like Denzel Burke for the Cardinals, Greg Dortch, Will Hernandez, which we talked about a little earlier. Will Johnson is also questionable as well. Bilal Nichols, which the 21-day window is already opened up. I don't expect him to come out this game for the Cardinals to start. It's probably going to take maybe another week or so. That's kind of what I'm expecting here as an Arizona Cardinal fan. But you also do got Calais Campbell, as it did not practice, and I think that's more of a veteran day off more than anything. But Simi Fehoko was a full go. John Gaines II was unlimited fashion, and things are trending in the right direction for the Cardinals. Now for the Tennessee Titans side, you do got a lot of players that already have been rolled out. Mike Brown, their safety, out. Blake Hance, their offensive lineman, out. J.C. Latham, another tackle, ruled out. And Bryce Oliver has also been ruled out. They got a lot of players that right now are seen as questionable. Couple big names out there is going to be none other than Tajay Spears as well as Calvin Ridley. But I do believe this Arizona Cardinal team really needs to focus on how can we contain Tony Pollard. That's where their offense really runs to. Now, Cam Ward, I think, is going to be a special talent maybe next year or the following year. But let's be real, this Tennessee Titans team right now is not expected to win very many games. So the Arizona Cardinals need to come in here to State Farm Stadium and really have a statement game with all the question marks surrounding the future of the Cardinals, this regime, the current quarterback. There's a lot of question marks. And somehow with the win, all those narratives and storylines will definitely be quiet down at least for another week. So the Arizona Cardinals have a very big game coming our way against the Tennessee Titans. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know what your overall thoughts here on all of the updates that we ended up getting. Put everything in the comments below. I appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cardinals.